Hi everyone, and welcome to the Bid&Post Show. This is our inaugural episode, and my name is Sue Connors, and I'm your host, together with Adam Addlestone.
Hey.
We are going to be discussing projects and construction opportunities from around the province. And today, in our inaugural episode, we're really pleased to have with us Scott Bone from the Northern Regional Construction Association. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you.
Is it okay if we call you King of the North?
You can call me that.
Awesome. Okay.
I'll take the title. Thank you.
All right, Scott, can you tell us a little bit about, first of all, NRCA?
Certainly. Well, NRCA is one of four regions, construction region associations within the province. We're located in the north, and we represent areas north of Williams Lake up to the Alberta border, and then out to Haida Gwaii and up to the Yukon. So physically, we have the largest region within the province. Right now, we have about 250 members. Our membership is very similar to our counterparts within the other regions. We represent general contractors, we represent trade contractors, banks, associations, professional associations. And our association is one of the oldest in the province. We've been going for about 60 years now.
Wow, that's incredible. What got you involved?
Well, I'm fortunate. For 3 decades, I was Director of Purchasing for the City of Prince George, so I kind of have that public background. And when I retired, my wife didn't want me home alone with my tools, and so I was forced to come out of retirement, and I was fortunate to be approached by the Construction Association to fulfill a role of CEO in that organization.
Well, we're very lucky to have you, that's for sure. So tell us a little about what's happening up north. I hear it's very busy and things are just happening.
Well, it's really a wonderful time for the North. When you look at the construction activity in the province right now, there's about $110 billion of current construction activity in the province. And when you separate that out and look at the North, about 50% of that construction activity is within our backyard. And when you look at those dollars and you look at the recent financial investment decision by the LNG Canada, you look at the construction activity for the pipeline, the recent announcement in Prince George of a $5 billion project for petrochemical, there's a huge amount of opportunities that are happening in the North. I'm fortunate because before I started with the Construction Association, I worked for TransCanada Pipeline for their procurement division. So it's kind of nice to see all of these activities and these projects now starting to come to fruition, which is in the North.
And are they in one particular location in the north? Are they more spread out? Like, what is the busiest area within the northern region?
Well, that's probably the biggest question right now. When you start looking at our various regions, our biggest area right now that has this significant amount of activity is in the Terrace and Kitimat area. And that's really designed, I think, and intended to support the LNG facility. When you look at that $40 billion that are being spent there's a lot of construction activity and projects that are happening in that specific area. But when you look at the Prince George area, which is kind of the hub of we'll call it the supply chain sector, we are representing all of those contractors from transportation to professional services. And so there's a significant amount of activity, not just in one area, but throughout the full North area.
I can imagine. Now, you're talking a lot about the bigger projects. Do you have any smaller projects that are available in the region?
Well, there's interesting is we're working very closely with the partnerships BC as an example. The Terrace area, they're putting in a brand new hospital, $500 million. It's being run through the BidCentral program. It's one of those projects that's supporting the infrastructure and those types of activities that happen. When you look in the Prince George area, we have a $5.2 billion project that's just been happening called Petro-Canada. It's called West Coast Olefins. And so there's many little and large projects that are happening throughout the North.
Wow. How do you keep up with the demand?
That's the difficult thing. And I think what we're finding now is what's interesting is because the construction activity in the North is really going to start to peak for the next 3 or 4 years. And then in about 2023, you're going to see it come back down to about the 2019 levels. And so our members are looking at these projects in a way and saying they're being very strategic. What project do I want to bid on? What capacity do I have to build on it? And of course, the biggest challenge that we're having throughout the province is workforce management. Do I have enough people to be able to fulfill the terms of the contract and do it on time for the owner?
And how are they getting talent? What's the
well? And the thing
strategy
is that as an example, I think one of the key things is BCCA, or BC Construction Association. Their whole role of working with industry, like the LNG Canada, the trades program, the one that they've recently signed up with the Kitimat Valley, whereas that they're having working with the various public owners, the various contractors, to look at what those gaps are and fill them through various training dollars, working with secondary applications and those type of things.
It's interesting. So what do you see as the most important element in procurement for the next 6 months?
The biggest challenge that I think that we're having right now, particularly in the public sector, is that what we call owners of choice. And what we've been pursuing and working with public owners is that you want to be a public owner of choice. You want the construction industry to be interested and excited about bidding on your projects. Mm-hmm. If they're not interested and excited, because there's so much activity, they'll be selective in what they're doing. So we're working very closely with the BC Construction Association and our other partners about informing and educating these public owners on the best practices so that there is opportunities out there for them.
That's great. And have you had success?
We've had huge success. We just actually had an event in Prince George not too long ago, September 12th, I believe it was. And we had about 30 public owners and contractors there, and we had the Ministry of Finance, we had the BC Construction Association talking about some of the nuances in public procurement and how the public owners might find better ways to attract their bids to public owners.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine. It is that age-old question: is if you have a project and you need to get people to bid on that, how are you going to go about getting that project out there and known, to the different general contractors and trade contractors?
One of the things that I learned in my 3 decades in public procurement, and I always remember being on the other side of the table when public procurement, in industry and contractors were always criticizing us, saying if I would have known about this project before you went to public tender, I could have been a little bit more strategic. And one of the things, I think the tool that we've learned and found significant benefit is the pre-bid. Our contractors, our members are now looking and using pre-bid to say there's a project coming out 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months down the road. And rather than reacting to a public tender, they're being strategic and looking at their capacity, their workforce, and saying these are projects that are aligned with our objectives, and we're going to attract ourselves to those versus reacting to a public tender. The other thing that we're finding a lot of is, particularly with our members, the use of the BidCentral platform, because the projects are there, the information is available to them, the various tools, the access, and particularly the most important thing that we hear from our members is when they wake up and have their morning coffee, all of the projects are in their inbox. Yeah. They don't have to go looking for it. So it's those types of tools that are available in the industry that helps them find the projects that they need.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a great segue. So if people want to learn more about the Northern Regional Construction Association, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, obviously we have our website. We're very well aligned with the BidCentral program. We're aligned with BCCA, but you'd obviously reach out to us and we'd be happy to kind of walk you through some of the things that we're doing and provide you the various projects that are happening in our area. Great.
And Adam, to his point of the morning coffee, how do people go about finding the project that Scott's talking about and waking up to that delightful morning coffee and the list of all the projects in their area?
Yep, I have to admit I do the same. I get into the office, get my cup of coffee, sit down and read through all the new projects on our site. And you can do that too by going to www.bidcentral.ca and signing up for an account there. And once you've created an account, you can browse through all the projects in the region. You can follow the projects, you can download the documents, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me.
Thank you very much, Scott. It's been a pleasure having you on the show today, and I know we're going to be talking to you a lot in the future and hearing about upcoming projects and the success that you're having in your region. That's wonderful.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. And if you have a project that you'd like to see spotlighted on the show, just feel free to get in touch and we'll make it happen.